I'm eating porridge and bananas with honey. That's my breakfast, or it's actually my lunch, with a cup of coffee. You know what, I learned something about myself recently, is that I can be defensive and I can justify myself. This doesn't mean that if bad things happen to me, that the bad things that happen are excusable. For example, if someone yells at me, constantly picks at me, doubts me, treats me unfairly, doesn't mean that that's okay. And I want to just let myself know that it's okay to feel defensive, it's okay to feel justified. And then after accepting that it's okay, we just move on from that. Because if we keep latching on to those feelings, we're going to remain stuck there. When it comes to attracting the opposite sex and entering into a relationship with that person, it really isn't that hard to do it. If you're single or you've been broken up with and you'd like to enter into a new relationship with a partner who treats you with the way that you'd like to be respected, loved, cherished, etc. The funny thing is, almost everybody wants that. And for some reason, no one's also giving it. In my personal experience, it is better to let the relationship or the friendship play out for a long time before you commit. You don't want to jump straight into the gun. On that same note, the same reason relationships fail is because of the same thing. It takes a long time for the pressure to build up and then it explodes. So it makes me think, with anyone I've been romantically interested in the most recent years, makes me wonder if rather than wanting the relationship, wanting things to play out a certain way, I could have just been sitting on easy mode the whole time, being friends, you could say. Being my natural self and just flirting and let things play out naturally, rather than constantly wishing upon a star that things should be different. Why am I not getting the things that I want, etc.? It's not fair that I've been abused, etc. So when bad things happen to you, it is easy to justify and get defensive because our amygdala is activated. That is true. The other people, they can be threatening us implicitly and explicitly, and that may also be true. And yes, it may also be true that it is our very own perception of the threat that is causing our own suffering. The other party doesn't inflict suffering necessarily. But in saying that, it doesn't mean that you don't have some type of responsibility to respond to the situation. You know, that's just literally it. If you want things to work out, you let them play out naturally over time. That's it. You want to attract or develop a relationship with a member of the opposite sex, you let that play out naturally over time. You don't try to brute force it now in the moment. You do what you can now, you chip away at it. You have fun with the moment, the present, and you keep on building on top of that. I read a quote this morning that said, stress is when you work hard at something that you don't care about. Passion is when you work hard at something that you do care about. So in saying that, hard work can be perceived as both stressful or passionate. And I suppose if you care about it, you're passionate about it, then the whole ride is going to be a lot easier. But the thing we're passionate about is not the outcome. It's not the trophy. It's not the audience. It's not the praise. It's not the congratulations. It's not the pat on the back. It's not the sex. It's not the warm hugs. The thing that we want to focus our passion on, the thing that we want to actually care about, is the practice itself. If we're learning how to drive a car, we practice for the sake of practicing, not for the sake of getting our driver's license. Even though that is a goal, we keep that goal in mind. There's like a very subtle care. That's all we need. It just has to be a little bit of care. We don't need to disproportionately overinflate it more than that. Because when we disproportionately overinflate how much we value something, the distance is going to get greater, and it's going to feel like an enormous struggle to get to that destination. One thing we can practice is getting ready for whatever may come. If you believe that you're going to be in a relationship with someone, you would like to have a house, like a bird, like a nest, that's furnished or populated with things that make life comfortable. A normal bed, normal security, a normal functioning toilet, and refrigerator full of some nice goodies. The ability to cook cannot be understated. The enjoyment of cooking in itself is probably a big bonus. I personally have struggled with cooking for a long time, and I always thought it was just too hard, to be honest. I thought it was too much of a hassle. My heart wasn't in it. But that's also the problem. If your heart isn't in it, then of course you're going to suck at it. So you want to put your heart and soul into it. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a professional Michelin star chef. It just means you put your heart and soul into the specific dishes that you enjoy eating the most, and you share those dishes. Make sure to change the dishes around. Because if you eat one thing for too long, it can become sickening. And this is true for any type of setting in a relationship. If you do something you like for too long, it can actually become sickening. So you always want to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You never want to be stagnant. You never want to be fixed. You never want to be stuck in one place for too long, because then that very thing, even if it's enjoyable, will become sickening. It's like if your heart was pumping normally, but it was staying on the second pump for way too long, way too long. That's not good. Yeah, it will come back, but if it did, you're like, holy crap, that's going to be painful. So you would just want to be like your normal heartbeat. Go with this nice flow, this nice hypnotic rhythm. This hypnotic rhythm is literally a cycle. So, if you're feeling defensive, if you're feeling like you need to justify user error, that's okay, that's healthy, and that's normal. But if we're stuck in that for too long, like that heartbeat that just sits in that single beat for way too long, that's not healthy. That's really bad. So we have to bring ourselves back, retreat, withdraw, stay silent and calm and quiet, relaxed. When bad shit happens, you always want to remain calm. And if you're single, longing for a relationship, longing for love, to receive and to give love, don't fixate on that for too long. Don't be like that heart that just sits at a single beat. Forgive yourself. Forgive the other party where applicable. The thing that's hurting you the most, just let it go. I really do not like that word, let it go. It really gets under my skin. But there was this one time, I do recall letting go was the best thing that ever happened to me. When I had my it's my second car. It was a blue XG Falcon Ute. And I had some truck reverse into the quarter panel, into the side of the car. And I had this big soccer ball dent in the side of my car. And I chased after the dude who did it to me. And I was foolish for not recording a witness statement, because I had a witness come up to me and tell me that they saw the whole thing. But I was foolish in not recording it, in not helping her out give me a statement. And I let the guy who did it to me get away. He never got back to me. And I ended up chasing and following up with the company that he was contracting for. And in the end, this company were actually turning against me and threatening to call the police on me for harassing them. And certain people who were friends of this truck driver started gaslighting me and saying that this truck driver never did that to me. There's no way he would drive like that. You must be making things up. So it was a really terrible time in my life at that exact moment. I didn't even have insurance on my car at the time. And the insurance company that I actually figured out who the truck driver was with, not even they were able to help me. Because I didn't have my own insurance, and they're like, oh, well, we don't really want to hand out money. And it's one of the few moments I ever cried in my life, I think. Because I felt defeated, wronged, hurt. And I was getting quite angry a lot. But my mother did tell me, when she saw me feel this way, that I need to let it go because it's eating away at me. It's destroying me. And so I thought about that for a little moment. And unfortunately, she was right. There was literally nothing I could do. I had literally done everything up until that point and still failed. And if I was to continue to keep letting this gnaw away at me, to continuously keep chasing after this, it was actually hurting me because I was never really going to get the outcome that I wanted. You could say I was more likely to get the outcome if I had prepared for this type of shit to go down, see? If I had already prepared to have car insurance on my car, maybe I could have had some type of resolve. And since then, I have actually had car insurance the whole time. But thankfully, I've never really needed to use it much. And you see, if you are in a similar situation where something bad is going on down in your life, like my situation, sure, that's nowhere near as bad as some other people. Some other people have it way worse. I'm telling you, like the most fucked up shit that you don't even want to know about sometimes. And my situation was really not that bad compared to a lot of other people's. Even when someone technically verbally abuses me at this point, it's like I'm so used to it that I just got to figure out how to get tougher skin. But we do see here that if we're latching on to that thing that's hurting us, it's going to be like that heartbeat that sits and stagnates in a single beat and it won't let go. So we have to let that go. When it comes to attracting a partner of the opposite sex, receiving and giving love, you just simply prepare. You just simply practice for the sake of practice, of what it means and looks like to be in a relationship. If you see a member of the opposite sex and you're attracted to them, you're gonna start feeling a lot of thoughts flow through your head on how you're supposed to approach this person. How can you talk to them? What are you supposed to say? Well, remember, you're not doing this for the sake of the outcome. You're doing this for the sake of practice. You just say, hey, I like this outfit that you're wearing. It doesn't have to be a perfect compliment. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this miraculous thing. You can get your message across even if it's not perfect. They will get the idea, and because there is a decision presented in front of them, they're either going to say a yes or a no, maybe a maybe. But more than likely, it's going to be a yes or a no, depending on a lot of different factors. How well did you approach them? Did they like the tone of your voice? Are you yourself attractive? Do they see themselves in you? Are they interested in learning more about you, just as you may be interested in learning more about them? Tons of factors need to be checked off in a single lightning fast brainwave for this person to make a decision of whether to reciprocate or not. It's not really within your control to make that person decide. The only thing that's within your control is leverage. How many of the factors do you tick off that are in favor of the other party? Over time, when you actually do enter into a relationship at some point, because that shit is not hard, that's easy. The real danger is actually not taking the precautions and preparing beforehand. Like I was trying to say with that insurance company, you want some car insurance in your car before shit happens, not after. You want to prepare, you want to build up your life, you want to make sure that you're kind of on the same page. You want to set your terms and conditions up. And then, when you're actually in the relationship, the thing is, the relationships that you enter into, their terms and conditions are subject to change. They must not be fixed. You can have your values, you could be Christian, but you must be flexible, firm but flexible. And you must continue to practice even after you're in a relationship. You must not be complacent, you must not be stagnant, you must continue to date, you must continue to flirt, you must continue to make a bigger and better nest. Not necessarily a bigger house, chasing after the American dream, but more in the sense that you make your life even more amazing, more comfortable. You always iterate, you keep on building. You don't just settle, because then over time it degrades. And that's what happens. Our bodies, we're made of water, and when water sits still, it turns into this goop. But when water flows, naturally, it's clear. And that's what we want to be like. Keep on iterating, keep on growing, keep on learning, keep on building, and keep on inviting and flirting with your partner. Because what happens, just like how you enter into the relationship and you become stagnant for too long, you stay defensive for too long, you justify for too long. Over time, the more that happens, over time, just like entering into a relationship, boom, it collapses. And you're wondering, what the hell happened? And this is the nature of relationships. So I've just given you how relationships works. I've opened up myself a little bit because I'm talking from experience here and my own observations. And also just remember that we're all human. We make mistakes. And when mistakes happen, these are great opportunities to learn, to find ways and where we can improve, to look at what went wrong and see if we can prevent that from happening again, and ask ourselves, how can we do better next time? I'm Vitalovite. If you'd like to contact me and figure out how to figure out what someone else is thinking, you need some help being more empathetic, you can reach out to me on Instagram and DM me. And if you like help figuring out how to attract a member of the opposite sex, you can also DM me, because that's what I would like to help people figure out.